go. Have a good one, boys.
Right, good evening, everyone. I'll take full responsibility, but better late than never, as they say, boys. We're here for the 36th episode of No Punches Pulled, 2 hours later than normal, but as I said, better late than never. Jalen, we got a few predictions out last night for the New York card. I'm sure we'll do Saudi tomorrow, but we also reviewed what happened at Tottenham Hotspur on Saturday, so no need to talk about that again. Let's get straight into it. We've got the Ring Magazine card in Times Square, New York on Friday night. It's going to be insane to see the logistics side of it, I think, which I thought I'd never say about a boxing event. But I am very intrigued to see how they're going to shut off Times Square and what it actually looks like on the telly. Decent card. I mean, great names, if we want to say that. Great namesakes on the card. I'd prefer it if they're in matchups against each other rather than their said opponents. But as I said last night, Tio Barboza, for me, that's the pick of the fights on the card, especially in terms of closeness of the actual fight. I don't think the other two will be as close as that will be. But Garcia back out, Haney back out for the first time since they fought each other. Rather than just dissecting every fight, we'll just go. Give me both of your overview of the card, anything in particular you like about it, how Times Square is going to work.
I think Tio and Barbosa's fight of the weekend. I don't just think it's the best fight on that card.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that,
Look, we said last night, and I've said on my show, which I've recorded tonight, which will be out tomorrow, Tio needs a certain type of fighter to look good. He needs a Lomachenko who will be in your face all night, or a Josh Taylor that looks to maul you and sit on your chest all night to look good. When it's a Sandor Martin or a Steve Claggett that looks to sit on the back foot and need Tio to close the gap and pick them off, he's always struggled. And the other thing with Tio, how he was meant to get stripped, 6 times in the last year, and it's never happened.
Well, gobsmacked he's still fighting. He's taken this fight, should I say?
So there's so many things with him. Then you bring his dad into it, and he argues in the corner with his dad at near enough every single fight, even when he's winning. So that relationship, that dynamic isn't 100%.
He's with Eddie Reynoso, so is he now? But he's obviously going to be in Saudi for Canelo.
Well, yeah.
So I don't know how that's working.
Well, it'll be Lopez Senior by the looks of it, from what we saw from the arrivals and stuff yesterday. Look, I don't think it matters. I don't even think Eddie Reynoso in the corner would make a difference to Tio this weekend. I think every so often there's a challenger that's just that hungry that nothing's going to stop them winning, and that's Barboza for me this weekend. Like I said yesterday, I think it will be a fantastic fight. It wouldn't surprise me if there's another flash knockdown for Lopez, a bit like when he lost to Kambosos, and then he has to chase the fight down the backstretch.
Sandor Martin to add him down.
Yeah, look, I think Barboza wins it fairly comfortably, 8-4, 9 rounds to 3. I think it's a relatively comfortable changing of the guard. Just hopefully the scorecards reflects it.
Yeah, definitely. Evening, Humble Apcrum. I hope you're well, my friend. Barboza win as well. I think we all picked that last night.
Yeah,
we as well, Jay.
Yeah. I picked. I'm sick of Tio, if I'm honest. I'm everything he does feels forced. Like, how can I explain this? It's like he's not a real person now. He's playing this Tio character now, and it just. I'd wish he'd just box, because the kid is super talented.
He is,
super talented, but unfortunately became Brand Tio, and the second he became Brand Tio, the cringe moved up a few levels, and we've never seen the guy that wowed us all. When he broke through, obviously we knew who he was, but when he had his performances, his breakout, standout performances, it was a wow moment in terms of boxing. Go on, what are you saying, Liam?
He still nicknames himself as the Takeover, but there was the Takeover prior to beating Loma, and there's him now.
After.
That young, hungry, arrogant, cocky.
That's gone, man. That went that night.
Yeah, it's now a cringy salesman whose best performance in this whole time was against Josh Taylor. Regardless of what may have been going on with Josh Taylor that night, he'd still be a former undisputed world champion that was the title holder going into that fight. So, look, the takeover it's kind of like Conor McGregor. Once McGregor beat Aldo, beat Alvarez, he was never the same again, was he? And we're now probably never going to see him fight again. And look, it's completely different comparisons, but
no, I get it.
Sorry, mate, to interrupt, but he still calls himself the Takeover, but he's a different person now.
Yeah, but unfortunately, he still thinks he's the kid that beat Loma, the kid that beat Josh Taylor. You know, we heard him the second I heard him say do you think I've still got it or have I still got it? When he lost to Sander Martin,
Sander Martin,
let's be honest, he lost that fight and was gifted, got it gifted. We're never going to see that kid again, and that's why I picked Barbosa, and I picked Barbosa without hesitation the second I knew the fight was made, because if you go on the last performances, then you'll pick Barbosa, because I believe that Barbosa's had the better last win. I believe, similar to what you guys have said, he's hungry. You know, he came to the Lions Den. We watched how good his performance was, but still thought he'd get shit on the cards because of where it was and who was promoting it, etc. And I just believe that when people have runs, they have runs, don't they? I think Barbosa might be on his run. I think there's another big head still for him to take. Someone, like Keyshawn Davis or some random fight of a big. Barbosa always seems to be the underdog, and when his back's up against it, he seems to pull the performances off.
Yeah, it's comfortable.
I'm excited for it, because if Tio turns up, then we could be sat here on Sunday and he's outclassed him and made him look down.
Yeah, that's what I said. The best version of Tio should beat the best version of Barbosa. I'd back Barbosa any day of the week on confidence and momentum, even
because we don't see that. Because we haven't seen that Tio. We've seen it twice. If we're honest, we've seen the best of Tio at the top level twice. The rest of it has just been filler. He's been either scraping through or getting gifted wins or just arguing with his dad, like you said, Liam, in the corner, or there's shit in the build-up, or he's having a divorce, or he's falling over. It's just a mess, man. It's just too much of a mess, and I think Barbosa's on the straight path. Tio's is like that now. It's here, there, and everywhere, and it's just...
I agree with you, Pat, 100%. I'll categorize the co-main and the main in one. Literally, their fights to set up the rematch between Haney and Garcia in Riyadh in October to kick off Riyadh season. Probably better be a Bivol 3 will headline that card, I would say, with that being a co-main event or double main event, whatever you want to call it, which will be fairly extraordinary card, to be fair, all things considered. But yeah, look, I'm not really interested in the Garcia fight that much, to be honest with you. I'm definitely not interested in Haney Ramirez.
I'm only interested in Haney Ramirez to see the scars how he looks from the Garcia fight. Look, these fights have been set up for them both to get dominant victories. That's the reality to set up October. Garcia, for me, will get a stoppage in the first half of the fight. He will get that dominant moment. Devin Haney, I think, will scrape a points victory. I think he's probably going to 7-5 it. I think there's going to be a lot of scars there. He's going to feel his way into the fight and he'll do enough, but it won't be the Devin Haney we saw completely school Regis Prograis in December 2023. It's going to be a completely different type of Devin Haney, one we've not seen before.
Hesitant, you think?
Yeah. I think
he nearly got stopped in that fight, and he can scream about the PEDs as much as he wants, but in parts of that fight, he was just getting his head boxed off. Ryan Garcia's power, speed, he just couldn't deal with it. He was just not used to it, and the way Garcia throws and sets up his shots.
I think Ryan beat him in the mind games as well. Jay,
absolutely, he crushed him. The second he went down, it was over for him, because you could see his ego just shatter right there.
He landed a big left hook in the first round, didn't he, that rocked Haney to his boots, and he never kind of got back a foothold into the fight afterwards.
He didn't recover, because I believe that he, in no way, shape or form, ever thought that Ryan Garcia could do anything near that to him. He couldn't comprehend it, so he'd not been comfortable with it, so it crushed him. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying fighters have to go in with a mindset.
I know what you mean.
No, I'm not saying. What I'm saying is, fighters have got to believe in themselves and back themselves to win, but they also have to be comfortable. I think John Jones, it was that I very first heard publicly say it. He started to become comfortable with the possibility of him losing, and as soon as he felt comfortable with knowing that there was a chance of it, he became freer and put on better winning performances. But he might be an enigma as such. But what I'm saying is, the second Haney it come on top for him, it crumbled and there was no coming back from it. It got worse for him. It didn't improve at all. It just got worse. And I'm wondering if at any point in this fight, if it's not going his way, is he going to revert to type, which is crumble and fall to pieces?
I think look, he's got his O back on paper. So that's what the narrative will be at the press conference tomorrow. I've got my O back. But up here and in here, what's he got now? And we're going to find out Friday night. That's the reality.
Yeah, we are.
But they're clever in the matchmaking again, because his opponent Ramirez is not really known as this concussive puncher, so it's going to be more of a trade-off, I believe. But if he does get caught with something he doesn't see coming, is it going to affect him negatively if his legs buck, just a little bit? Because Ramirez, it's hard enough to be able to buckle him a bit.
Yeah,
I'm intrigued by it because I've said that I think that something's going to happen. They're going to clash heads, or Hayden's going to hurt himself. Or
I hope it does. I think he's got potential to be an absolute stinker. To be honest,
I think Hayden's going to be tentative and really negative in it, and I think that. And Ramirez is not known for exciting, blistering counter punching, so there could be a stalemate and it just be really boring. They're holding each other and getting broke all the time, and I hope not, but it has the potential to be a stinker.
Yeah, look, we'll watch Times Square, and it's going to be a good card. Let's be honest, it's 3 fights, it's three decently high level fights, but we'll move to Riyadh then on Sunday morning, not Saturday night. It's definitely Sunday morning. We'll cover. I know Badou Jack's fighting Michelin for the WBC Cruiserweight Championship.
I really don't care about that fight.
Whatever. Yeah. But,
that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah, Munguia Saras, the rematch. Again, look, Munguia should correct that. I think he was just underestimated him. But
I'm back in the knockout, boys.
Look, you never know.
It'll be trap odds now, won't it?
Well, it'd be interesting because look, he went into that fight, the first one, thinking, the only thing that can't happen to me here is I can't be knocked out, regardless of what happens. This guy can't punch.
Not a puncher.
So that's why he got knocked out. He ain't making that mistake again. No chance. But Bukoli Ajagba, boys, what do we think?
Well, that's another one that, is about reactions for me. And we've never seen Bukoli have to come back from something like this. Obviously, he's come back from defeat before, and he took a bit of a whooping at stages of that first defeat.
Michael Hunter fight.
Yeah, there were times in that fight Bukoli looked out on his feet.
Yeah,
it was a strange one. But this one was at the highest level. Not just at the highest level, it was similar to the Eubank Senior. That type of, the moments that we had on Saturday night with the senior arrival, and the whole world was watching Bukoli get from the Congo to the other side of the world. Do you get what I'm saying? So it became even more pressure, and he got absolutely destroyed in under 4 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yeah, second round, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, but it wasn't even towards the end. It was really early in the second round.
Within the first
the myth somewhat of Martin Bukoli's been sort of shattered. Sort of. Boxing people know that wasn't Martin Bukoli as such. So I'm intrigued to see how he handles Ajagba's jab, because it's solid, and if it hits him, is he going to revert to type and worry if his knees buckle a little bit, or he feels it?
Isn't it? We've got to see what he looks like after.
Yeah. But I believe that if Bukoli can negate that and get inside, then he should box his head off.
Yeah, he should be above Ajagba. He should be, but again, we don't fully know. Billy's got Riatpor on that card as well. I read earlier.
Riatpor's fighting on that card.
Riatpor's on that card. Yeah, he's fighting TBA. Don't get me wrong, but
I was going to say that's gone under the radar.
Yeah, that's gone under the radar. Yeah, he's meant to fight a Coley on that Joyce card, wasn't he? But then
someone said. Did they say that Coley wants to fight Joshua? Did I hear that somewhere today? Yeah. Does Joshua not manage? Does 258 not manage a Coley still? No,
I don't know.
I want to fight Joshua as well. Within the payday that comes with it as well.
I think Joe Gallagher has.
I'll fight Joshua.
Yeah. No, I've been out and about, Dave. Thanks for joining us, mate. Yeah, bit of a tick box for us tonight, just to make sure we get it in.
On Bukoli, this is the perfect argument of recency bias, isn't it? Because if his last fight was Anderson, we'd all be saying that he absolutely steamrolls Ajagba. But because
which we were saying when it was first made,
because we've got the asterisks, even though there's the asterisks there of the Parker fight, there's that seed of doubt. I mean, for me, this should go. What he done to Anderson, he should be able to do to Ajagba, and it should be over in the first half of the fight.
Yeah.
But there's now that seed of doubt. I mean, we know from speaking to Billy that he wanted Martin in the gym for this fight in May, 10 days before the Parker fight was called, and he couldn't get him over from the Congo. And Billy made a joke out of it, but it says something if he wanted him for 11 weeks and he didn't have him. Depends how long after the Parker fight. I think Billy said he gave him 10 days. So he dealt with Crocker because it was Crocker Donovan the next week, and then he wanted to focus on Martin. So if Martin's given his all to Billy for a proper training camp, we'll see a similar performance to what we did against Anderson.
Yeah, I expect Martin to be on it on Saturday night, to be fair. I think we'll see.
I mean, he's had long enough to prepare for Ajagba before and after the Parker fight in between. There's absolutely no reason for him not to be probably the fittest he's ever been, because he's had a long camp. He's had a fight in between, albeit he got smashed in. So there should be no rust or feeling out process. He should be able to go in there, work his way past that jab with overhand right, and smash him to pieces. I'm just worried that he gets caught by a jab if he feels it, like in his legs. Is he going to worry about what's just happened to him and
there's always that.
Up? I don't think he's that kind of dude. I think he'll just throw down and go out on his shield. But as you said, as the same with Haney, we're going to have to see if he gets tested, how he reacts to it. But I expect him to blast him out there. I picked him to do that before. That shouldn't really change. I think, as Liam said, he should do this in the first.
He might have less pressure on him now. Jay's secured himself financially, so what's he got?
It's not final eliminator anymore. They've lost the IBF.
Yeah, exactly. So he's just got no pressure on him now to go.
This is just to add to the mall that he's building in the Congo. Put some car parking bays
just to get another pair of Gucci shoes
and the world's tightest jeans.
Yeah, another pair of skinnies for Bacoli. I love how did you see Eddie's tweet at Billy about I love how he had to. I love
got the jeans in.
I don't think Eddie's painting himself in glory a lot recently, but it did make me laugh, that tweet, to be fair, mentioning the skinny jeans.
And he couldn't fit, and in a seat he couldn't fit in.
Yeah. That was good. That was good from Fast Car.
Eddie's not, listen, whatever you think about Eddie Hearn, he's having a terrible week. He's having a shooter.
He faces up to it, to be fair to him.
But he doesn't hide away. He doesn't shy away from it.
He's on Ariel's show tonight. I saw, he's everywhere. And
he's made some comments on there that are interesting.
About
to do with he could name 6 superstars from boxing, but not one from the UFC, and that's the biggest difference between the two.
But he doesn't watch MMA. So
he don't watch MMA, so I can name 5 or 6. It's a different.
I see where he's coming from, though. He did. I watched some of the clips myself, and he does make a decent point. But he's having a shocker. He's losing every big fight, Eddie, isn't he? Every big fight.
Yeah, and his superstars are getting sparse, and the ones he's trying to build are getting defeats, and the big fights aren't going. Because could you imagine what the talks would be if Conor Benn had a flatlined Junior at the weekend? What we'd be talking about in terms of what's next for Conor Benn? The world would have been his oyster, and Eddie Hearn would have been front and centre. I'd have had him against Ennis at Wembley or some madness and got him.
Luca's right, and he is. And did you see Conor Benn's flying out to New York to be ringside for the Garcia fight, and he's going to call out Queen Ryan?
Yes, I've seen.
I mean,
because Ryan's fighting for the WBA welterweight championship of the world, so he wants to be a world champion. That was a quote from an interview with Conor Benn today. He wants to fight
Ryan Garcia. I think he beats the dog shit out of Conor.
Garcia would beat Ben, but I mean, it made me laugh. Does Jaron Ennis not exist? No, is he not the WBA welterweight champion?
He wouldn't dare. He wouldn't dare.
Yeah, I love it. Just like that shows you where you're at. So you want to beat Ryan Garcia, who would be the regular champion.
Rather than fight the real champ for multiple belts.
Yeah, but yet you want to diminish Chris Eubank Jr. for being an IBO world champion at the presser. And in the fight we build up, work that one out. I put the IBO and WBA regular on the same perch as a world championship.
Absolutely. Conor Benn's not the sharpest tool in the box anyway, is he? He doesn't remember what he said at a press conference a week ago. Absolutely not. So he's going to go for the easiest route. And also, don't forget, within himself, Saturday night, Conor Benn learnt a lot. He learnt about his level. So whatever he says to us publicly about how good he thinks he is, he knows how good he is from Saturday night because he couldn't beat a 60%, as he said himself, Eubank Jr., because that's what he was. He was shot to bits at the weekend. That weight cut ruined him. He was half the fighter he would have been. If he'd done it a couple of years ago or at 164 without a rehydration clause, he'd have stopped Conor Benn. I firmly believe he'd have stopped him early.
Stopped him if he could have fight easily. Early. Luca's comment, he can't lose in that one, Luca.
What was he?
He's saying he's made McGray on the Sood, so he can't lose that one because they're both matchroom fighters. And he knows 50-50 fights are a gamble, better roll the dice. Yeah, look, no, Eddie is strong on his matchmaking. You can't deny that. It's more of like a running joke that he loses the fights because, a lot of these fights, matchroom fighters are losing their 50-50s. That's Boxer have put guys in there. Queensbury in the 5v5 against Matchroom. Matchroom had more favourites, I believe, on paper. I think
they had four. I think 4 favourites other than Hamza Shiraz.
Yeah, I can't remember. Well, Shiraz was definitely a favourite, but I think Hutchison won as an underdog against Craig Richards. I think Ball and Ford. I think Ball was a slight underdog against Ford, if I remember.
Dubois was an underdog,
and obviously Dubois was an underdog against Hrgovic.
Zhang was an underdog.
And was Zhang, I can't remember on Zhang, but either way, even if Wilder was an underdog, that would have still be 3-2 in favourite. So, these are 50-50 fights and Matchroom are losing. So, Eddie's in it. Yeah, definitely. Right, quick one on Canelo and Inoue, and then we'll wrap up, boys. Canelo's Skull. Will Canelo get his first? I know we'll do our predictions tomorrow, but Canelo needs to go out and put a statement on Sunday morning, doesn't he? Obviously, we know Eubank Jr. is maybe in the hat, but it's looking like it'll be Crawford for Undisputed in Vegas in September.
I'm not sure that fight happens still. I don't know why.
I'm not 100% convinced. And one of the lads asked him, one of the UK reporters asked him today, and he said, I guarantee I'll fight in the UK before I retire. He said that, and Canelo seems to be a man of his word. So if he's saying that,
they're not going to do Crawford Canelo over here, surely.
No. He said he'll fight over here before he retires. So he'd have to fight a Eubank or someone like that over
Hamza
here.
Shiraz, maybe. Hamza.
Yeah, true, Luca. Yeah, Hamza's another one. Yeah.
Hamza's too young and too dangerous.
But if they could make it in the UK and Turkey loves Hamza and he says, look, I'll give you 100 million.
Correct. Yeah.
Fight my thing. It could be made. Canelo's about the money and Turkey loves him. He loves Hamza.
If he pay him enough, he'll do anything. He was going to fight Jake Paul, for God's sake, because of the money.
That's what I mean. So, you could listen in a parallel universe somewhere. Hamza Shiraz on the right night could beat Canelo if you catch Canelo at the right time and bringing him to Wembley.
Fading by the day, to be fair.
That's what I mean. If you bring him to Wembley next year, say mid 2026, it could be the right. What is he now? 30 odd.
34, 35, something like that, is it?
He's only 35. He's been around since I was in my 20s, I think. It feels like. Yeah. But he was so young when he came
pro since he was 16, so he's nearly 20 years a pro.
I think he was younger than that, was he not? I'm pretty sure Canelo's boxed at 15.
Or something stupid like that.
He was 15 when he turned over.
When he came through, he was like 21.
He fought Matthew Hatton when he was 20. So
wow. Yeah. And he was already established then.
Yeah. Did he fight Ryan Rhodes as well or something?
Yeah, he's fought Ryan Rhodes, Matthew Hatton, Mikey. Oh no, he fought Cotto. Did what's he called? Trainer Mike from Lancashire. His name's completely gone from my head. Box Cotto. It'll come to me at some point.
Going back to Canelo this weekend while Jay's having a thing.
Michael Jennings. Was it Jennings?
It's a case of the IBF stripped Canelo because they were fed up with not being able to get 3% on their own. A bit like what they done at heavyweight with giving Usyk's belt up to Dubois. And we always knew whoever won out of Skull Shishkin would be fighting Canelo. So we always knew this belt was going to come back around. So, look, it's being sold on the fact it's for 2-time undisputed. There's 7, 8, 9 heavyweights I put above Skull that should have that belt that would give Canelo a better fight. Super middleweight, heavyweights on my mind. It's Canelo can't afford another 12 rounds coasting. His last stoppage was when he picked up this belt the first time when he done Plant. When he's done Caleb Plant, and since then he's had 1 loss and 5 unanimous decision victories, which have been convincing victories, but they've not been the exclamation mark he was putting on it when he beat Callum Smith, Joe Saunders, Plant, etc. to pick up all the belts. Is that a sign of age? Is that a sign he's taken the fights a bit easier recently? I don't know, but someone like William Scull, who's only got the belt because Canelo was stripped, should be getting taken care of with inside 7, 8 rounds. That's the
reality. 100%. The Quick 50's joined us over on Twitch. Thanks for joining us, Canelo Duck. His recent run hasn't been great, has it? But look, he's going to dispatch and deal with William Scull. Of course, he is. There's no jeopardy in that fight for him. Boys, we finish on a new way. He's fighting Cardenas, T-Mobile Arena. There's a decent co-main on that one as well. Rafael Espinoza fighting Vasquez, the guy who Joe Cordina fought in Monaco, if either of you remember that fight.
Yeah.
He could be a bit of a handful, to be fair. I'm looking for... I like Espinoza, like 6 foot for a featherweight. Imagine him against Nick Ball. Nick Ball's about 5'2". He's like 6'1" as a featherweight. It'd be... Nick Ball would be up to his belly button. Anyway, Cardenas, I'm not that keen on it, but it is what it is. Hopefully, MJ is next. I think he took step aside, so I think that's pretty much done for Riyadh, I heard, or something like that. But good to see a new way out anyway.
I mean, Cardenas is the next contestant. That's all he is. He's the next one up that's going to try and take a crack at a guy that is a level above everyone. I mean, Bob Arum must be ecstatic because Inouye's finally going to become a superstar because he's going to America to fight. It's finally going to all that, the Bob Arum narrative for his last 4 fights. If I'm going to get him to America, he's going to become a superstar while he's had 70,000 people watching him at the time. I mean, read the room, Bob. It's
not replicating that outside of Japan, unfortunately, I'm afraid.
Yeah, no, it's for me, it's the wrong place to do him, but what do I know about anything?
I'd just leave him. I'd have left him at home and just brought them all to him and just paid big bucks, brought them all to him, filled out.
Superstar, man. Superstar. That'll flop in Vegas, that will.
He was getting 50,000 people on a Thursday night in Tokyo watching him. He didn't need to go anywhere else.
I can't understand it. It's just purely for money for him. He's not bothered about breaking America, I don't believe. He's recognised pound for pound by
Bob's like obsessed with him trying to break America. I think it's just he's stuck in his ways a little bit.
He's just and he's top rank contracted, so Bob's told him he's going to America, so he's done it. But look, he does this inside the first 6, and then hopefully we get MJ, like we said.
Yeah, 100%. I want to end on Luca's comment because I watched Ben Shalom's full interview. Don't know if either of you saw it earlier on in like the aftermath of the Eubank fight, and we've been critical of Shalom, but we're critical of them all, and we're allowed to be because we're paying consumers. But I completely agree with Luca. Ben Shalom has grown on me so much over the last month or so, and he speaks so well. I swear to God, and like you kind of want to root for him a little bit because Frank Smith and Eddie and Frank Warren, they're all like. Gang pack mentality on him or whatever. Eddie and him have a bit of banter, to be fair, but Frank's really all over him, and Frank Smith and Frank Warren, should I say, both the Franks.
I've seen a different side to Frank in this build-up. He is a cock, he's a fucking div. He's a smarmy prick, unfortunately, and he couldn't hold his facade for much longer, and he got caught on camera. He offered out an old guy. He offered somebody like older than me, and I'm near 50. Somebody that he didn't say it to Napa or any of Brothers or Harlem or like that, did he? Picked on, like, no disrespect, whoever you are, mate. I'm not dissing you or anything, but you didn't look like you could knock the skin off a custard, and Frank knew that. I'm on about the way he looks. The guy might be a killer, but what I'm saying is Frank picked on, like when John Fury had butted the young lad, who's 6'2", the smallest, all the rest are 6'2", 6'3", 6'5", one of them's 5'8", John Fury, 6, and cut himself the sausage. But look,
Fury.
sausage. Blood. Guts and thunder. Blood, guts, and fights. 1,000 fights on the cobbles. God bless him. Look, Ben Shalom is just. Ben Shalom's not changed. He's just the same awkward
He's doing
character.
his own thing, man. He's doing
He's staying in his own lane. He's making fights. He's making fights with other
promoters. They're so rattled by him, Jay. They're so rattled by him.
But he's not bothered about being front and centre. He just gets on with it. They fucking hate that about him. They hate that about him. Do you know why? Because he grows on people. He's like Lucas said.
He won't engage with them either. He's above it, and like they hate that. But like honestly, he's winning people over, and I'm glad Luca brought that up because I've had exactly that. I was watching that interview. If you haven't watched it, either of you, it's about half an hour, and I listened to it earlier, and I was like, do you know what? He comes across like really, really well, and the way he talks about Eubank and the way it happened and everything.
There's more. There's more chance of him ripping us off than Eddie or Frank, because Frank and Eddie are front and centre. They're slippery, aren't they? Ben Shalom seems a nice dude. He's a boxing promoter, so he's going to put himself first. But he seems more of just a straight business dude. The other two are playing characters. Frank's front and centre and has been for 50 years or whatever it is. Eddie's front and centre and has been for 10, 15 years. Ben's front and centre by default, doesn't really want to be there. He's happy to stand behind someone. Does that make sense? Yeah. He's not bothered about brand Ben Shalom. I ripped him for it.
He's fighter focused.
He is. I ripped him for it. And do you remember me saying, "Oh, me and Liam will do your marketing, Ben," and he's got the personality of a breeze block. That shit's working for him now because people think that he's just genuine. That's who he is. He's not a colourful character, so he's not going to pretend he is.
He's happy to stand in the back. Like their little seat at the top table, and they like their bit, you know.
Then he'll sit at side. But look, he's won some massive fights in the past couple of weeks. Well, he's won the two biggest fights.
He's had a huge 2 weeks.
Yeah. Cameron Whitaker was a big fight.
On Saturday. What a 3 weeks that will be.
His confidence has gone sky high. He's now comfortable within boxing as well. He's found his feet. He's made his mistakes. They're still making mistakes. Whitaker Cameron's a prime example. But he's learning. He's coming more into himself. I think Ben Shalom is less bothered now about Eddie and Frank and the rest than he was at the start. He's realising that he's got his own lane and it's starting to work for him.
They're worried about him, I believe.
He doesn't need to obsess about what's going on. He needs to stay focused in his own lane.
Like he's letting them, like, you know, cause their own issues with the public perception and he's doing the right thing. You know, there's no point in him trying to compete with Eddie and Frank who's you know, in a pissing contest, because he ain't going to win that. But what he is going to win is
the fights. What's important is winning the matchups, which means
better. Yeah, exactly. He's winning the fights. Yeah, exactly.
And ultimately, that's what he's paid to do. And I think the difference between him and the likes of Eddie and Frank is they're the boss. He doesn't mind letting the fighters be the boss.
Yeah, look at the Eubank thing. You know, Eubank front and center, and he's the main man. You know, he just
and look, let him do his thing.
He's like, Eubank, call me what you want. I'm just here, and he's okay.
Well, did you not see him and Eubank Jr.'s first interaction after the bell went and the result was announced? They didn't even hug.
Yeah,
it was like an awkward shoulder press on each other. Do you know? But very. I can't explain it. It wasn't cold as such because Ben's part of the team, but he wasn't overly familiar with him because it's a business transaction.
For you, Jay, because I think you should watch it. It's really interesting. But I didn't realise that Chris's brother, who sadly passed away, Sebastian, Ben Shalom, he was one of Ben Shalom's first clients when he
when he turned over,
when he got into boxing as a boxing promoter. So like. I think they kind of always had, like, you know, they had a great relationship, I think.
Okay, well, look, but what I was saying, what I'm saying is Eddie Hearn would have had Conor Ben on his shoulders. He'd have probably been fake crying, you know, and Ben Shalom was happy and ecstatic for his client, and he lets it be about his client. Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren are like front and centre, the boss, and the fighters are there. Ben will let his fighters be the boss, and he just does his shit in the background. Still makes the decisions.
It was funny when Jamie Ward went to lift the mic by him, and Ben Shalom got in position. Then he just walked straight past him. Conor Ben now.
Just stood there, didn't he? Yeah, but look, he's had a fantastic fortnight, and you know, I'm excited for him. because there's some massive fights, some massive shows. Because look, a month or so ago, we were sat here talking about, maybe longer than that. I think it was before Christmas.
Yeah,
We were talking about how tough it was going to be for boxer going into 2025. You know, because there weren't many cards announced, and the cards that were announced started to fall apart. And you know, he's had a pretty successful first quarter, to be honest.
Of course he has, yeah. He's got Price, obviously, who could potentially be undisputed against Michaela Mayer if that happens. Like Lucas said, I forgot about Fraser's rebuild. Obviously, Vidal, what a win for him at the weekend as well. So, like, yeah, there's
Whitaker,
he's got, yeah, exactly.
Some decent.
He's in a very good position. Conscious for time, boys, so we'll wrap it up there. I think that'll do for a late version tonight. Thanks, guys, for tuning in and joining us at a very late time compared to usual. Luca, DJ Pat, David Roper, the Quick 50 over on Twitch. Thanks for that one. Drop us a follow if you would. Jams of Red Corner Boxing, Humble Apple Crumble, and the Mad Mitch TV.
Thanks, Mitch. I didn't see your things. I'm on my phone, so I can't see any comments.
No, you're all good. We'll be back tomorrow for some predictions for Riyadh, and that'll do us on here. Jay and Liam will be doing a straight talk on JFT. Thursday, I think, Liam, you recorded your show, didn't you? So that'll be out tomorrow. For Fight Night picks, and then watch alongs galore at the weekend. It's
a busy weekend, boys. I'm looking forward to it. We've got some not
much sleep going on, but we'll work on it. Yeah, I agree. Simpson's doing great. He is. Luca, really like him. Yes,
I think I want to see. I think it's in our. Sorry, I know we're going, but I'd like to see Whitaker and Simpson at some point.
I think in 18 months' time that could be huge.
I think Simpson will step up eventually, and he'll try get revenge for his pal from down the road, won't he?
yeah. I'm with you. Jay, Liam, been a pleasure as always. Boys, appreciate it, and we'll see everyone.